So now we're thinking about how we best meet children's needs. And if we start with their needs to use their bodies, I mean, you're doing this beautifully here through taking them onto bushland and having this beautiful outdoor. So this is building their physical skills. So they do feel more and more competent and mastering all these skills as they move forward into more and more challenging things.
I think that part of that needs to be giving children long periods of time for their, like long periods of uninterrupted time and play to get into those physical activities and to, you know, be climbing and running and riding balance bikes and scooters. And they do have, we call them agreements.
Yes.
Agreements around everything that we do here. You need to be safe, your friends need to be safe, and the environment needs to be safe. And so there's agreements around that if they want to climb that, they just can't climb it. One, they have to have no shoes on. Two, they have to go to the shed and source the mats to place down the bottom just in case someone falls. And three, they have to tell a teacher so that there's someone close by, just to be there if they need them.
Yeah.
Those sorts of things can't be done when you have an hour inside and an hour outside.
No.
So that shift came a number of years ago where the children arrive at 8:30 and they have that 8:30 till at least 12 o'clock, sometimes 12:30, of that uninterrupted space, other than to do more sunscreen and to eat if they're hungry. Because their bodies know when they're hungry. Drink lots of water, when your body needs it.
Absolutely. And if we're always telling children when they can eat, what we're actually doing is disconnecting children's body awareness and their ability to self-regulate, because we're telling them, no, you have to wait to eat. So then I'm not listening to my body anymore because I have to wait anyway. So we're actually doing the opposite to self-regulation and connecting children. So agency is important, to be able to go and get your drink bottle, to be able to go, well, that should be a given, but to be able to go and get your lunchbox or a snack available. One of the lovely things I saw as you were talking, it reminded me of children actively zooming around on their bikes within quite a busy environment, but they would let me know they were coming. They would say, excuse me, I'm coming. And they were going off on a ramp and doing all of these incredible things that are testing themselves, challenging themselves, giving them a sense of, I'm competent. Absolutely. I've got ability to move within this space and use this space. So it's just beautiful. And
yet they've got that I guess we've grown from that bike track that's there too. And that was a bike track. And back in the day, keep your bike on the bike track. Oh. Keep your bike on the bike track. And we reflected on that as a team and we said, how boring is that? They are going around and around and around in circles. They're not challenging themselves. And so, we let that go. Yes. And this is what has resulted. Really competent, capable children, they take their bikes up onto those climbing frames on the suspension bridge up there and are riding them backwards and forwards. It's
but all within this agreement, and that was obvious to me that there was this awareness of other people's safeties. They weren't just running into me and not caring. They were letting me know they were coming. So this is beautiful work being done. I remember that bike track, keeping round and round and keeping them on it and all those rules. So limiting rules, and what I'm hearing a lot is constant reflection. So why are we doing this and what is the impact that's happening for the children? Are we meeting children's needs or are we disconnecting them? Is there agency happening for children? All these beautiful moves forward in your practice to be where you are today. And the other beautiful thing, so I didn't hear the children that were upset. I didn't see any behaviours, what you'd typically be expecting. But the other lovely thing is, from my perspective, listening to the educators. Educators were basically, standing back. They were involved as needed, but it was very much, this lovely, gentle one-on-one interactions more than controlling and loud instructions. I didn't hear that today. So what's the shift there? Do you think you've been on a journey to get to that point?
I think possibly being confident in ourselves first and our abilities as educators to help facilitate whatever that may be for the children can enhance the time, the whole day for the children. And I think that, you know, one of the things that we talk about as a team, and it's part of our philosophy and our beliefs, that if we're invited into play, or if a child gives us that look or that body language that they might want or need us, then we'll join in. But if not, then we do stand back and we do listen and we do make notes, and then as a team we talk about it later on. And I think it's being able to give up control.
Yeah, this is huge, isn't it? That's the shift, I think.
You have to give up being in control, and until you are willing to do that, you're going to be barking those orders and hurting children and controlling their play. Whereas if you just trust the children and let them lead their learning, then it provides a much calmer environment for everybody.
Absolutely, yes. Having the right environment is all part of that. But the other thing I think is it does come from a leadership perspective as well, because I know some educators feel pressure to be constantly engaging. If they stand back, that's seen as not being active with the children. So it's an understanding and a philosophy that needs to come, and it all comes back to our image of the child, as you said, but this deep pedagogy of respecting child's authentic learning that comes socially through their engagement in the environment, rather than educators always controlling it and being part of it. There's so much we can be doing by observing and listening that can shift and adapt in the program from there, though.